Hi. Welcome back to the Shady Ladies podcast, RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 2. We are the Shady Ladies, Gambit Magazine contributing editors Mark Bupard and Smear Roy. And we are here to talk all of the shade and make sure not one single drop of tea is left unspilled about the finale of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 2, Season 2, whatever.
All-Stars Season... well, yeah, they're just calling it All-Stars 2, but we got it.
Yeah, the deuce.
The deuce.
It was nothing but that. I mean, it was the best season of reality television in forever. Oh, like,
and it was
the best.
Easily the best season of Drag Race in the last 3 years.
I feel so bad for whatever is going to happen in the next season. You have a lot of pressure on you to top how good that was.
Because we both listened to that interview that Katya did on Tom and Lorenzo's podcast, and she herself was saying well, it really did need something. It needed a change in some way, to stay popular, because you could feel that it was admitted that it was,
it really
stale.
did. She re-energized the brand in a way that I didn't even know was possible. And she also changed it up quite a bit from even the first time that they did All-Stars, which I think that was so much better.
Yeah, in the first All-Stars, they also... that was also their attempt to switch things up and make things different. It was their chance to try out different ideas.
But then it got muddled with twists and turns in a bad way, where this got twisted. It had a lot of twists and turns to it, but in a good way that was entertaining and kept you guessing and wanting to tune in next week, and you were upset that there wasn't another episode for you to watch immediately.
Yeah, it was consistently like that. Even when you didn't agree with it, even when you felt that it was overly scripted, it was still the most entertaining television, by far, of anything. And, I watch a lot of TV.
We both watched a lot of TV.
It's an occupational hazard, not an addiction.
It's probably a little bit of both. But either way, it was a spectacular season. I have no idea what to expect from Season 9, but
let's hope that they keep the spirit of changes that worked. Because,
but it's also crazy that it was filmed a year ago.
Yeah. How long were they sitting on these? Because they changed a lot of things. They got rid of the stupid, competing in teams,
that was the biggest part. They did some team or, group activities.
But it wasn't throughout the whole season you were stuck with this person.
You weren't tethered to someone, and your fate didn't really depend upon anybody else but you.
Yeah, I still remember when Pandora Box came back for that first All-Stars, and they paired her with Mimi I'm First. I'm like, Mimi I'm First was definitely memorable, but, All-Stars, the only reason you brought her on All-Stars was, to drag somebody else down and create drama. Because we all knew that whatever team Mimi I'm First was on was not going to win. Not because she's not a talented queen, but you knew that was just going to happen. You just knew. So when Pandora was paired with her, she got majorly pissed, completely shut down. Everyone kind of talked shit about her. Oh, you didn't even try. You didn't even give Mimi a chance, and you shouldn't have been so terrible. And I was I don't know. I felt kind of like her. I came back here for a chance to compete for something, and I saw instantly what was happening, and that it was to my detriment. And, I already have been through this. I know how produced the show is. So it's she knew that she saw the writing on the wall instantly and was I read it.
A little bit of Adore Delano, I would say.
A little bit. Adore, it was different with Adore in the sense that... Right,
but seeing the writing on the wall instant of, coming back being yeah, I really want to be a part of this and show other sides of myself, and then realize, oh, I've already been cast in this specific role, and this isn't what I thought I signed up for. Exactly.
And so she, left the show, as opposed to just getting eliminated first. She left, and I still applaud that gesture, and it was clearly not good for you emotionally to be there, and why stay in a situation.
And she managed to find it in her heart to show up to the reunion, unlike Fifi.
I know. Well, Fifi, did anybody want to see Fifi at the reunion?
I don't know. Maybe from an audience standpoint, yes, because
I would have loved to have seen the shit that when it hits the fan.
I can't even. I want to know
the literal
so bad.
shitstorm once it hits the fan.
I want to know what that would have looked like so bad.
Yes,
it would have been a
nightmare. Flaming turd thrown into a fan.
It would have turned into a Jerry
Springer
episode, and
Almost,
it would have been great
with drag queens.
Even better.
like all who are pretty fierce and sharp-tongued.
But you said that other queens had spoken highly of Fifi.
Well,
after
they've
the show.
defended her in the sense.
Okay, maybe spoken highly is a strong term.
Yes, that is a tad embellished.
Okay,
just a tad, because I think it was mostly in relation to the like, oh well, Fifi. They did say like, oh, Fifi's really nice and blah blah blah. They say nice things about her. But because I think
they didn't drag her.
They didn't drag. Yeah, they didn't really read her at all. It was kind of, I thought, generic sort of defense of Fifi, really, when they did that, because it was also like, oh yeah, well, that was the producers asking her questions, and they made it look like a big rant, and I'm like,
well, I loved what Ruth said in this episode.
Oh, yes,
like,
they totally referenced it.
Well, she was talking to Roxy. It just
very
happened
directly.
It happened to be really good foreshadowing in a weird sort of backwards way, since this was filmed a year ago.
Backshadowing.
Post, pre-shadow. Either way, when Ruth said, I hate it when these bitches come in here and say, oh, it's the editing. And she's like, no, you said it. That editing didn't make it up for you. We didn't film this footage. We didn't do a reenactment.
We didn't edit together like one word from like 30 out, like different moments of 30
I know
hours
exactly
of
what
footage
you're
to
talking
create
about.
one
Like an old school ransom note cut out.
Fucking hate Alyssa. Like, no.
It's like a bad ransom note cut out from different magazines,
exactly.
but with a bunch of different voices.
The oral version.
Yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about, and yes, it's not like it turns out that way. It's
like,
not.
no, you said all this shit. All they just had to leave. There was one unbroken shot of you saying that shit. They didn't even have to use 2 camera angles. Like, no, just let her move around. Just
it really
she'll
was.
Be the movement.
It was just one camera on her that was just like, some producers like, stay on her, stay on her, stay on her.
Kind of like, it was like if you that was your first day working on the set, the
you
camera
knew
was your
just
eyes
to be like,
watching the scene. Like, I'm not even going to move from right here at all, because, it's like when you're in the wild and you might change like the animal's behavior. If you move too much and you're not observing the thing, it's the same with people. People are the same everywhere. If you make your presence known, they will suddenly stop acting like themselves. So the producer would be like, don't move. Just stay right here. Don't change a thing.
Yeah, I felt like everybody was holding their breath in that instant. Like, just let her go.
Like, but
it proves Rue's point, which is, you said it. It's not editing. We can't make up what's not there. Which is the real salient point there.
Everyone else is smart enough not to give them that material. I mean, well, Coco didn't even really give them that material. She just wasn't super entertaining.
I feel like she tried to generate that material when she came back, when she was like, I'm not pairing up with Roxy because she eliminated me. Even that I didn't quite buy into. I don't feel like she cared.
I bought it because that's kind of how she is. She seems like she develops a grudge instantly over one thing. And her vision of how that thing played out was like totally different than the reality of it. And that was a thing that was a thing about her on season 5. And it was like, when we saw that whole like fight with Alyssa, where she turned this whole thing where Alyssa was dethroned because I guess she didn't meet all of her, she didn't do all the events she was supposed to do or something as Miss Gay America, so they stripped her of the crown and gave it to someone else. But like, Coco turned it into like a thing about herself, like, oh, you didn't have people yell, you're not the real winner anyways when you're on the stage, and it almost ruined my relationship. I was just a complete, like, dude, you got that crown handed to you and you acted like you should have won, and this was just like everything being put right. That's how you, like, so how did that ruin your life?
Look how fucking orange you look is all I have to say to that one.
At least in the reunion of that season, she was like, oh, when I watched it back, I'm like, oh, you do look like a Dorito. Which is why she came in with the Dorito compact. So It's like she owned that at least, and her makeup did improve, but like, it did turn to ash.
Jeez, that's so rough. Glossing over that quickly. Before we dive into the finale, I do want to say I am happy that they crowned the winner during the episode, and it wasn't some weird half reunion, half crown hybrid.
Yeah.
Although I do have one question. Do you think that they filmed each of them getting crowned?
I don't
and then
think so.
They didn't know, and I don't think so either, but it
still felt underwhelming.
Right. Well, I think it was because
we knew what was going to happen.
Expected. But I thought there was a rumor that Rue was upset with Alaska because she broke her NDA.
Yeah,
and so
I heard
she
that
broke her
too.
NDA, then it couldn't have been all three of them getting, like, each of them getting their own crown moment getting filmed then. It felt
But
very in the moment.
They did those things when it
was
live in front of
I was just wondering how much you think
audience.
they kept from the live aspect of the show in the produced version of the show.
I think it was literally just that it was all that day. Like, it was like that was the performance they're being judged on. This is the lip sync they're doing right now. You know, it's like it all happened sequentially that day instead of like, oh, and now we're going to come back tomorrow and reveal the winner. You all have to do this makeup again next week.
But do you think that they filmed everybody getting crowned and then they picked who they picked last night, excuse me. I just watched it last night. I don't know who they picked last Thursday. That was the big reveal.
Yeah.
Or do you think that they picked who they picked and that's it, and everybody already knew that was in that room ahead of time? Or not ahead of time, but in that moment.
I think they probably actually announced it, and then they probably had to do another take of the announcement. So I think that might have played a role in it too. But I genuinely do think that they actually did it it was that moment that they announced it.
It became
But I felt like
official
everyone else already knew. Well, maybe not. Maybe they were just playing the role, pretending like they didn't know that they had a chance.
That's a good question. But I feel like at least the top three, and I'm pretty sure this doesn't spoil anything, the top three of Alaska, Katya, and Detox all were in it to win it till the very, very end. I don't think that they were playing roles. Like, I'm going to just go through the motions. Like, I feel like they all genuinely wanted it and went after it as if they didn't know. Because I do think that it was pretty close between the three of them.
Like, they kind of obviously gave the most obvious winner edit of the critiques to Alaska. Because the only critique they had was of her personality when she's under pressure. Of her character, which was surprising to me.
Not her character, Alaska, but, like, her character as a person.
Like, that only counts for 2% out of 100. I'm like, it's kind of disappointing that you would consider someone's character and how they respond to pressure and minuscule adversity. I know it's a pressurized situation, so there's that, but, like...
But everybody else managed to hold it together.
And so it was very, I felt like that should have counted. It should count more in how you estimate
Alyssa
someone.
and Detox both had family members come and visit on the anniversary of their parents' death. They held it together better. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
They weren't in the bottom two. It wasn't anything like that.
It was that contrast.
It was something much more significant, and it affects your real life day to day. It's something you have to live with.
Yeah, but the contrast of people dealing with real serious issues like that with Alaska's behavior because she was potentially going to be eliminated, it's like, well, that really sort of says everything. Like, it makes the badness of her behavior stand out even more, because we also had an example of people who were, like, dealing with real emotional baggage, like, in that moment, and somehow pulled it together, were professionals, did their performance, gave it it was like they didn't use it as an excuse for anything.
Well, they didn't phone it in.
They worked through it. They performed really well. It was like, so that was like, like, oh, we got that example. And then Alaska is in the bottom and up for elimination, and she loses her shit. And it's like, dude, these other people are dealing with, like, dead parents.
Well, even her Alaska Talks meltdown in the finale was...
It was really off-putting also.
It was super bratty. It was just like, and I'm going to be judged harshly because I'm friends with them. Like, what are you even complaining about right now?
She was, like, thinking that, like, oh, by being friends with them, she's not going to be able to focus on herself to win. And, of course, Detox is like, well, I'm being friends with you.
I feel like she regarded it negatively in her overall standing with the judges. Like, it wasn't perfect.
Like, there was that also.
Because she had the Alaska Talks alliance, quote-unquote.
But I think it was also, she was also thinking, like, there was that one moment where they were all talking like, oh, I'm so glad Katya's here. She's such a cool weirdo, and I love her. And then Alaska gets all, like, pissed off and storms off because she's like, don't you remember the last time Alaska talks to the top four with a lovable weirdo? And look how great that turned out. And I just want to be here because I need to win. I needed to be in this top four. And they're like, Detox is just like, okay.
She just devolves into a raving lunatic.
And, like, she's like, you're coming way out of left field. Like, hello, I am still being friends with everybody. and I am still fighting to win, and I think I've done enough to win, so I don't really understand
I just thought it was
why you are telling me this now.
It almost felt like fishing for compliments at times, because even when Roxy has to cheer you up, when she has the least amount of chance, but she's pulling it together and she's not throwing a tantrum, has to tell you how good you've done and how close you are to winning, and to just cross the finish line. It just feels really selfish.
It was really selfish. Detox called it out perfectly. She was just she straight up said it, not to Alaska's face, but she said it in her testimonial interviews. But it was completely spot on. I was like, it makes you question a little bit how the relationship between Alaska and Sharon really devolved and dissolved. Because even when Alaska was on her season, she even talked about how they've had like really bad fights and this and that, but they were like, oh, this loving drag couple, and they were going to be a drag power couple, and everyone kind of assumed that it must have been Sharon Needles because she was the more aggressive type of her drag was a more aggressive in your face kind of drag, so they sort of transposed that onto like her personal character, like, oh, she must be that in your face and aggrandizing, you know, like in person.
Well, she was the one that was told to go back to Party City.
And so it's like, well, maybe there was more to the breakup of that relationship than just Sharon being like violent bitch, which is kind of like how she was depicted. So I'm like, maybe there was something else. I don't know about the violence part.
I think that they were probably... I mean, I think it's safe to say they're both toxic people to each other in that time.
But we'd never seen a toxic side of Alaska. We'd always seen like a really cool side, a really measured and control
funny,
side.
Droll,
you know, like not
witty quips.
Bothered. Like she didn't react like that when she got bad critiques before. So that's why I really put great stock in your theory that there was sort of a deal in place that she was going to be guaranteed to win, but she had to get herself to the Final Four.
Right.
And then the thought of not getting into the Final Four materialized at just the right moment, and she lost her shit.
But even when she made it into the top four, it
was like, the tantrum wasn't over. It was like the aftershock.
Yeah, I guess it was like a
3.5 aftershock about, you know, that's kind of what Alaska was in this finale episode. It was like muted from what it was before. But then a little bit of the crazy came out when they were all watching Katya do her part of the choreography when they were learning it from the little dreamy Travis Wall.
From So You Think You Can Dance.
He's so little cute, gorgeous little man. I want him. He's got a boyfriend. He's got a hot boyfriend, I'm sure. I think he does. I'm just assuming he does.
Just go sign up for some dance lessons.
Yeah, because I've got like an extra $5,000 or whatever he probably charges now. He's on a fucking TV show about dancing. So it's like, okay, I guess you have the right to charge a lot of money.
But I did love it. His choreography was amazing.
So good.
It was so good. That whole number was incredible. And the level of performance was insane.
It was insane. Okay,
we're not worthy.
No.
It was incredible.
Because the challenge was...
I honestly wish that the three of them... Sorry, Roxy. I wish that Alaska, Detox, and Katya would tour as like a power rap trio.
Because, you know, Detox did have like a musical trio with Willem, I think it was Vicky Vox. They did that Chick-fil-A song and This Boy is a Bottom. And so there was a little trio group that Detox was a part of that was
Thank you for reminding me.
Very successful, very funny. Still gets thousands and thousands and thousands of views, even though people have already forgotten about the Chick-fil-A scandal.
Doesn't matter. It still transcends the Chick-fil-A scandal.
So like that's a legitimate thing that she could do. And so they had to each create their own rap track for, was it Read You Wrote You. So they each have to write their own lyrics and record their own part of the track. And
learn choreography as a group and individually because they each had their own part.
Exactly. So we got to see, it was like sort of a thing. It was a rap challenge, really. Music challenge and a like performance challenge. And, of course, their final runway look. The funny thing is that, I mean, Grant, I understand why, because of the music, they got this guy to do the
and they also had to go record a podcast.
Oh, yes, they each recorded with RuPaul. They said it was going to be on What's the Tea, but I've only seen an interview with Detox on their What's the Tea podcast. I haven't seen one.
Well, now that this episode has aired, they're going to need to start releasing them.
I'm like, where's the Alaska one? Where's the Roxy one? Where's the Katya one?
I want to hear more about Katya's mom.
Oh my God.
I'm obsessed.
I want to see more of her on the show. Like, they have to bring her back in some way. Like, there has to be some,
Can she be a guest judge?
Like,
or can she be like a coach when they bring in a family for a challenge? She can like help them be a part of the performance and
I just
help
want
them
to
relax.
see Katya and her mom together
Like
in a
a welcome
performance again.
Oh my god!
It was so fun.
I know
still
that
think of
Katya has
that.
some like video projects in the work, and I hope that at least one of them features her mom.
Like, what's her dumpster hooker character's name? Like Trish or something?
Yes. I was like, Brenda? No, that's the
No.
evil voice in her head. And
Yeah,
then Carl.
Carl. Brenda, shut the fuck up.
So yeah, they also recorded a podcast in between, shuffling between recording their raps and writing them. But I mean, can we just talk about A.B. Soto's outfit? It was unnecessarily patriotic. He had like red and white star pants, and then the thing that I want to talk about is the red cowboy hat and the blue bandana he had tied underneath, like he was some sort of Dominican Bret Michaels.
Oh,
It was a sight to behold. No, I kind of loved it. Like, I respect the game, but it was just, I was like, that is a punch in the face of America. I mean, like, I'm American and getting punched in the face by his outfit because it's like, you're not American enough. This is what this outfit means.
It was, and then the weird, like, bare-chested.
I think was also like a red
thing.
and white shirt or a blue and white shirt.
It was like, dude.
He's a character, and he's so little, and I can only imagine his recording sessions with Rue.
Oh my god, that must be so fun to be a fly on the wall in those.
But I think that he gave really good feedback and direction.
Yeah, he was really good.
Except I wish he would have saved Roxy from doing that breathy rap part, because it just sounded like she was out of breath. It was horrible. When it gets to her part in the song when they're performing, I was like, was this recorded somewhere else, like outside with traffic? Because it's just like she doesn't have enough control because she doesn't sing. So there's too much. She's just out of breath, and he should have said no to that one.
I know, he should have been a little harsher
situation.
when he got, but maybe that was like the best that they could get out of her.
I was gonna say, or they only had 1 or 2 takes.
And it's like, we gotta go with that. I don't have any more time for you.
I don't know the second one.
I mean, they're all pretty bad, but we'll do what we can. We'll try. Like, I don't even think auto-tune could save this. The note you're trying to hit, then the note that you're supposed.
They fucking tried. They put several layers of auto-tune on that.
They tried, and it just didn't sell. And none of it really sold. I was like, nah. It was like the lyrics were like all about like, oh, I'm changed. It was like her whole theme this season. It was very pageant-like. You know, like the whole thing was pageant-like, her approach, which was nice.
I mean, we
all,
already
but...
knew that going in, she was the weakest link, and the rap just showed it. And it has nothing against Roxy. I think that she's a great drag queen. She's just not great at acting and singing. But her dance moves were great. Like, all of that stuff was awesome.
The outfit itself, though, even though it was that bold color, like you said,
it wasn't a bold color. I mean, it was nude. She was trying to do like Latina, like J-Lo.
It didn't look very good, though.
No, I don't think it fit well, and she's worn better jumpsuits.
Yeah, it wasn't flattering
and
for
body
the dance
suits,
either. It just wasn't. I know she's made better things in past seasons. I mean, she basically like, oh, she talked about, being able to sew. She talked about not being a bitch anymore. It was like, eh.
And I also felt like it just, nothing really kind of connected either.
Yeah,
but it was okay.
It wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't terrible, but I wasn't super wowed by it.
But I also feel like there's a reason why she was at the end.
Mm-hmm. Although it is kind of unfortunate for it to end on that note.
I guess that's also true.
I would have put her like second.
Yeah, maybe to like break it up.
A great first thing, like, oh, there's a speed bump. Oh, here's 2 good ones.
Yeah, you can't go through like 3 really good raps and then get to this.
Like, Katya would have been better last because that was easily the best.
The funniest, best one. And I love that she did it in character.
In character, too. And it was like...
I can't imagine how hard it is to fucking rap with a Russian accent.
It was...
Most actors can't even... Emily Blunt can't even keep up her American accent for all of Girl on the Train, but Katya could keep it up while rapping.
Yeah, she managed it. Dostoevsky in the sheets.
It's a rash, not a hurt, be sore. And she kicks it off great when she starts with her name, and it kind of like frames her rap as like, I'm this character, and then she goes on to tell you things about her character that you already know, and if you don't, it brings you in and you get the joke. But I love when she's like, but your dad calls me Katya. And the fans were great.
Petrova.
And it's not a deduction for her to be that fucking flexible, because her dance was also one of the better ones, too.
It was easily, I think, the best dance.
Because Alaska just looked like she was getting thrown around like a fucking rag doll.
I know, and I'm like, I didn't get the blue paint.
Me neither, but at least she bothered to wear black.
I
mean, I'm sorry. Roxy was trying to stand out, but it didn't work. It just actually ostracized her instead of made her, like, the star.
Yeah, it didn't work
She
for her.
just stuck out like a sore thumb.
But then still forgettable in the grand scheme of that performance.
That's why Michelle Visage's comment about being like, I can't take my eyes off her. I was like, girl, what?
Oh, yeah, it's kind of like that, like, oh, you have a very pretty face, but this dress doesn't fit you.
Oh, jeez.
That's what it felt like, you know?
Detox could be the creative director of a fashion brand.
I'm like, that's the, well, she's not going to win this, but here's something else she could win at. Like, it was just, like, you know, you could, like, the comments, like we said, like, the critiques were so edited to,
the winner's edit was insane on those comments.
I'm like, you made it completely obvious. I mean, like, they tried to throw you off a little bit with Katya's because, I mean, the things they said about Katya were genuine, but it was like the way they edited those comments together was meant to, like,
when they were watching her dance and like she could do a bunch of different stuff, because they strategically showed Alaska struggling to dance and just generally move her legs in a way that didn't look like she was trying to kick away people. It was sad and weird, especially because she's so gangly. It just It was
kind of like
unfortunate.
Pinocchio, like his limbs.
Oh, just good.
You just
like a baby lamb learning how to walk.
Yes, it's Bambi on ice again.
And then Detox struggling to walk along the chairs.
And then Roxy didn't really seem to have trouble, but it was also like...
She confused her left and her right, and apparently that's very dramatic.
Yeah, so there was nothing really happening there.
But Katya was the real standout.
Well, they were all like, the long, like, angry, like, pissed off faces as all three of them were watching Katya's, rehearsal, learning a choreography in an instant, and then doing it, like, even better than they designed it. And they're all just like... And then that was that moment where the crazy Alaska came out, like, fuck, motherfucker, fuck. I'm like, oh. Yeah. It was in her
I think there were a couple shits in there, too. But, yeah.
It was like, oh, dear, there she is again.
Mm-hmm.
Still here. And they're like, we're going to get our asses handed to us, y'all. And I'm like, I think it was Roxy who said that. But it was like, well, in this thing, yes.
Well, you just generally.
You probably for all of these things.
And that's so mean. I actually really like Roxy. I don't mean it in a mean way. I think she brought her best A game.
And it just shouldn't have been good enough to get to the final four. Like, right. I love that part. She's like, I'm here and I'm going to show the judges why I'm still here. I'm like, you're still here because your friends wouldn't eliminate you.
I know. I just would have
And they got to choose.
I would have so loved to have seen what Alyssa would have done with her rap, because that would have been incredible and highly entertaining.
And Alyssa's dance.
I feel like Detox, she talks about this whole episode, she talks about how, oh, I really want to win, I should win because of this, that, and the other thing. But girl, if you really wanted to fucking win, you would have eliminated Alaska last week. That would have been done. Then it would have really just been you and Katya.
Uh-huh. And then it would have been a much closer race, I think.
And the drama would have been so good.
It's like they've been...
From, like, a strategic standpoint and also, like, a producer, audience satisfaction standpoint, yes, people would be upset that Alaska got eliminated and she didn't win. But Alaska already has a huge fan base. I can't see her doing anything different than anything that she hasn't done before.
Yeah, it's going to
be... Like, the singing and, like, the kind of droll, jokey, stand-up stuff. And what else does she do?
That's,
Okay. Well, then, yeah, I would expect more of the same.
And it would be. I feel like...
I feel like my ginger argument starts to finally, like, seep onto Alaska, even though I do think that she's very talented and I like Alaska.
And very creative.
And it's not like she didn't deserve what she got.
She's got a good imagination, you know, it's all there, but it's also like, you kind of get a sense of exactly what you're going to get from her in a lot of ways. Like, at first it was like, oh, you always know to get something unexpected. But it's like you expect the unexpected, and then the unexpected becomes expected.
And then I had a real issue with them praising her Mae West and her Joan Crawford. Only because... No, not Joan Crawford. I'm sorry.
Her Betty Davis was legit good.
No, they were both really good, but also it's something that I feel like Queen should do really well.
Yeah.
old school Hollywood.
I didn't think her Mae West was that good. I still stand by that. I don't think it was that good. She had a couple good jokes, but the characterization was just so
But the way
easy
that they
and
talked
simple.
about her Snatch Game, it felt like that was when they decided she had won.
Yeah, and I was like not that impressed by it. They're like, oh, and you chose someone that you educated people and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, but she didn't even do the look. She literally just dressed as Alaska with like a Mae West wig on and put on a big hat. I'm like, that wasn't embodying a character. That was just Alaska being Alaska. And it wasn't like the same as Alyssa being Alyssa as Joan Crawford. Because there was like, Alyssa as Joan Crawford is going to be its own crazy animal. And that's what we saw. So that's why it was entertaining. It wasn't just Alyssa being Alyssa. No, it's Alyssa playing a character, and because she's so off the wall and she's playing this kind of character, it was hilarious. But I felt like Alaska was just being Alaska.
First time at the Snatch Game.
Barbara.
But that's like a perfect example of Alyssa being Joan Crawford as Alyssa.
It worked. It was its own thing. It wasn't just her just doing Alyssa. And I thought that Alaska was just doing Alaska and calling it Mae West because she did Mae West's voice and copied a couple of her jokes. I'm not saying it was bad, but it was like, if you're going to do Mae West, she's famous for being a buxom, sexy woman. You need to at least pad yourself to be a buxom, sexy woman and have an outfit prepared and try to do your makeup even a little bit like Mae West, because it was just Alaska's makeup. There was no attempt whatsoever to depict Mae West visually other than the wig for me. And so I was like, no, I thought that was really lazy. They should have called out the laziness in that. Yeah.
Shade.
LaWanda's always here to back me up.
I mean, I can't.
So I felt like that was a sign.
I can't find an argument in your argument.
Yeah, that was a sign to me that they had already picked their winner, and so they're like, oh well, we have to. I'm not saying that they didn't think it was good, but I do think that they embellished their comments,
overpraised.
Just as we may have done a little earlier. I think they definitely did a little bit of that because in their mind it's like Alaska's the winner, so that colors, they're already thinking of her that way is what we're saying, and I'm saying that if I believe that, I also believe that it colors how they view the competition in general.
How can it not?
So it totally makes everything that person does seem even better than it may actually
especially
have been.
The 11th hour, oh, she's in the bottom two.
It was all called it. We called it. We were like,
it was like, how are you perfect, and then suddenly just absolutely terrible.
It's like, no, that
how do you suddenly let your mom go down the runway in flip-flops? Sorry, I take a personal affront to flip-flops. I find them disgusting and abhorrent. So I've also agreed with the judges that was terrible. It's a horrible look. It's a fucking runway.
You couldn't even give her ballet flats or something.
Exactly. I understand wanting to be flats. I don't wear high heels. I get wanting to wear flats. Never ever a flip-flop.
But yeah, that was just like, why would you do that? Why? Because you were coasting and you were lazy. And they had to pick a moment to finally call her out if she was lazy, which she'd been a couple times.
And she had won.
Yeah, and she had won. And she even won the lip sync.
Because that's my biggest problem. Is she started out strong, and somewhere in there, probably around the Revenge era, I feel like she started to just let it slip. And that's when I started to notice that Katya and Detox were doing better and weren't getting recognized for it.
Yeah. And then they just had a thing. They would not let Katya win a lip sync.
Maybe it was probably right after she won for Snatch Game that I started to notice a slight dip. So maybe that deal with the producers came to fruition around that time. And then she's like, cool, I can just coast and do the best that Alaska can do. And then, yeah. Again, not even the best, even half awake Alaska is still really funny.
Yeah.
It's, again, not trying to take anything away from her. We knew she was going to take the whole thing, so it's not really
She just had
shocking.
Of all the people that were in the show, I think we said it right at the beginning, it's she's the one who really has the most winner aura about her based on her popularity in her season, that she was someone that a lot of people thought should have won, but she didn't win in her season. And that's
Is this a Chad Michaels moment?
Yeah, because the first season of All Stars was a lot of people thought Chad Michaels should have won instead of Sharon Needles. And then suddenly Chad Michaels, it just coasts right through All Stars to the crown. I'm not saying that Chad Michaels wasn't really great in almost everything Chad Michaels does. Chad Michaels has a few.
This is
How many times do we say Chad Michaels?
This is also we're making the same argument for both
Alaska.
of them. Yeah.
It's the same exact thing, whereas like she's someone who
But I
almost
don't know
won
why.
but didn't, and a lot of people thought she did, and now she's on All Stars. Here's her second chance to win, and it just seems like of all the people, like in terms of their persona and like where they are as a performer in their career, I felt like the most, besides Katya, I felt like Alaska. Katya didn't have that vibe because Katya had a troubled first season.
Yeah.
But she still, even through all her struggles that season, showed so much of who she was. And then the work she did after, I mean, even though she doesn't seem to believe that she's had that kind of post-Drag Race career that the other girls have had, and I kind of think she has.
I think so, too. When we didn't listen to the interview together, but when we listened to Tom and Lorenzo's interview with Katya, some of the stuff that she had said about her career post-Drag Race, I was like, maybe it's because you are in it, you don't realize, and we have the advantage of perspective, but I think that she's someone that went home early, was like a fan favorite. No one can take that away from her. She's a fan favorite in her season and this season, too. And she's just done extraordinarily well. She's always traveling. She's always doing a show.
She made comments about like how now she's like, oh, now I can, like before I was like living paycheck to paycheck, barely getting by. Now I'm like, I'm going to buy a house. Now I can buy a house. Like I can think about buying a house.
So how is that not success? I mean, I think that that's just Katya and her anxiety and
a little
issues
bit, yeah.
of self-esteem. And I mean, I'm not trying to like armchair psychologist her, so I'm not going to even get into that too much. But yeah. I don't know how she feels about it, or I don't understand how she feels that way about her career, but I think that she's done well, and I think that she's only bolstered her image by being on All Stars and doing as well as she did, like really showing so many different sides of herself, and so elevated, and so like to this extreme, hilarious comedic tilt that I think it's like really like super meta pop culture, but also is broad enough to appeal to a lot of people. It's like this highbrow, lowbrow, like great sitcom kind of thing.
Yeah, she's got all of it going on, and I think that like we saw in the challenge too, because like we said, we mentioned her rap was like Russian, full Russian accent, full about her character,
like full on character, and like she calls herself a prostitute and tells other hoes to hit the bricks and shit, and it just also sounds like so eloquent in her Russian accent.
And the dance moves with like all the splits and
that rash line had me laugh. It was the only thing that actually made me laugh out loud.
It's not a rash, she's a herpes sore.
So if we're just judging their raps, and I mean, as a white girl, I feel qualified to judge their raps because I listen to lots of rap.
Yes, you do.
But I would say that Detox was the best rapper. Like, she had the best enunciation. Her voice sounded the best. I feel like you could put any rap in front of her and Detox would kill it. But I think the content of her verse wasn't that great. I think she had some good moments, but I felt there was like a sadness to her verse, and maybe I'm reading too much into it. But she
Detox?
Yeah, because she was like, "If Rue's number one, then I'm number two." But this was her
I heard
moment.
That part, I was like,
this was her moment to be like, "I'm fucking the one, bitch. I'm the queen of the weirdos. Fuck you. If you don't like it, suck my dick." Like that was your chance to just like be full out bravado, because there's no such thing as a self-deprecating rapper.
And she was the best like rapper.
But that's why I also think that her verse, you can gloss over it the first 2 or 3 times you listen to it, but I listened to it 8 times today, and I can tell you, it's on Spotify, y'all. Get it if you can't get it out of your head and you're like me. But having listened to it a bunch of times, there's just like a little bit of like, she's still like putting herself down, and she's just being self-deprecating, and that was her moment to be like, I'm Detox, what's up, bitch? I'm the new drag queen winner, what the fuck? Like, that was her moment to do that, because Alaska and Katya... Well, Alaska said, that crown is mine. Katya was just like, this is my character. And that was... I think maybe if you compare Alaska to Katya, Katya was very humbled and just wanted to show... She hoped that she could win by showing who she was. And Alaska came in and was just like, dick swinging, this is my shit, fuck off, back off.
And it was
But that also shows... That just shows you... that's the kind of character that quote unquote wins at life, because I think that it's also like an allegory for how things go in real life too. You don't win anything by being yourself sometimes.
Or you don't win anything by not believing that you can win.
Right.
If you go in without believing that you can win, then you're not going to win. And it's like you're manifesting your own destiny.
I mean, yeah, for a lack of a better, for me coming up with a different phrase, that sounds the best.
But like it's like that. It's just like kind of like when you compete in anything, anywhere, like in any sport, in anything. You go in with the mentality of I can't win. Well, you're not going to. It's not going to magically come to you if that's what's in your head. That's what your body's going to express. Because everything's going to express. It's going to be filtered through that. And so it was kind of like, I can see where you're coming from with Detox, because that's also how we knew Katya wasn't going to last in her season, was because you could see her doing that to herself. And we're like, oh, that's not winner material.
Right. And it also goes back to like what we were just saying about Katya's career, which is like, you're so talented. What are you talking about? Wake up. So I want to shake you like a British nanny.
And I think it was partially because there was a few times, or at least a couple times on this season, at least, that like we felt she should have won the whole week. And I think she only won once. It was that team challenge, I think, wasn't it? No, or was it? No, it wasn't, because that was Ginger and her and they didn't win. It was the team that Tatiana was on. That's where they split the prize. But no, Katya never won the $10,000 tip.
No, she never did.
And
but she did place twice.
That she should have won.
Yeah. I mean, definitely in her lip sync against Alaska the second time.
The second time. And I think in her lip sync against Detox.
Because all Detox did was turn around to her butt.
Like I said, everyone else was doing greatest hits of Drag Race. Even Alaska's rap was like a greatest hits of Drag Race thing. Her speech at the end was a greatest hits of Drag Race.
That was a little much.
All, like,
but as soon as she made that speech, Samir, I was like, oh God, are you going to win this because you're a super fan? It just felt really kiss-assy.
It was really
I felt like
kiss-assy.
Katya was just very genuine from start to finish.
And you can tell in that final lip sync performance too, like Detox and Katya were really the ones who were like feeling that song emotionally. And Alaska was doing like
a bit.
A bit, yeah. She was doing a routine, and it was like the way she smeared the makeup and everything. It was all so planned out.
But it was almost like but I feel like she almost remembered to smear her makeup. Like, oh, don't forget, this is part of your thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
It was a moment where she was like, this is part of my act, doing this and then this. And the other people were like, I'm listening to the lyrics. I'm feeling what this song is about. It means something in this moment to us, and we're projecting that. So I got that out of both of them. So it was really disappointing that, like, okay, we're supposedly, you guys are like supposedly judging, like, how did they do on this final challenge? Is this supposed to help you decide? And really, Alaska didn't really win any of the legs of the competition.
Right. And I feel like to go
back in the final episode, she didn't really win any part of the final. And see, that's where the repeat cycle comes in too, was because, well, actually, no, it was all three looks that Jinx had to create for the final ball that she failed at in her season. And so it was like something that Alaska referenced in her little speech when they had to be like, why should you win and why should the other people lose? And so this time, her speech was just like, I'm just going to do all the funny things that other queens have done and do it in Alaska's voice.
But so to go back to what you said about Alaska's greatest hits, that was the thing that made her, to me, just like a less interesting winner versus Katya, who did a bunch of different... She showed the Katya character more. We just kept seeing a bunch of new different things from her constantly, whether it was lip syncing for her legacy and she would come out in all black and look like she was going to be in like Hole or something, or killing any lip sync. She owned every challenge. She incorporated her Russianness into the mom-daughter drag challenge in a way that you didn't think that she could. She did it when they did the fish tank episode. She just kept consistently showing different sides of her character, where Alaska, I felt like, had a checklist of all of her greatest hits.
Yeah, it felt like that. Like, she would do things that were, like, very Alaska, but they also felt like things that you kind of expected.
Repetitive.
Like, even though they were different and her imagination is really good, and it's like you appreciate where it's coming from. A lot of times I felt like she was sort of ripping off other people's jokes here and there, like from other comic shows and from other queens. Obviously, it was openly doing that in the final episode. And I felt like with Katya, it was like you kept seeing something new that you didn't expect, but it also still felt like it completely came out of her character. So you didn't even realize like the breadth of things that Katya could produce from this character. Like like they said in the critique, like it's endless. The possibilities are endless with her. Like,
yeah, Ross Matthews said that. I was like, yes, thank you for saying that. That's exactly why everybody loves her.
Because it's like you'll always get something kooky and weird that you don't know exactly how to respond to at first, and it's just instantly hilarious. But it's always her. It's always, no matter how different and how unexpected it was. And I felt like I'm just hoping that she doesn't become the way Alaska is, where Alaska's unexpectedness is now expected.
Right. And I mean, that isn't to say that Alaska, because I keep saying, oh, Katya's so in character, she's so being this person that she embodies, this like mob daughter of like a Russian family. That's
I love that. Set ablaze by her children.
Jealous relatives.
Oh, that was. I was watching that with some friends, and like, everybody just literally died at that line.
It was, and
she made everyone laugh more in this episode than anyone else.
I know. She's just so consistently funny, and she just like digs in so deep into like weird minutia that you wouldn't even ever think of. She's hysterical. But I keep talking about Katya being in character, but it's not to say that Alaska's rap wasn't in character, to go back to me judging everybody's rap verses. Because I thought Alaska's was very on brand for her, and I thought it was funny and really clever. And listening to it and not watching the performance, because I thought that her performance was a little, like I said earlier, ragdolly. Just sorry.
We had to harmonize.
Yeah, post-cold cough break.
Yes.
But because she was so thrown about and like not nailing her dance moves, it was a little distracting, so it felt like a weaker performance to me. But her verse,
the actual verse was funny,
and her verse also is the close, because everybody kept talking about Nicki Minaj. Hers is closest to being Nicki Minaj, like, because she does different inflections in her voice, like that Toto Dorothy analogy where she's supposed to get in the basket, which it should have been a Silence of the Lambs reference if you're going to do some basket references.
I think so too, but
you know, I still appreciated it as a Wizard of Oz superfan.
I think she actually has a singing voice that she kind of hides, because you can't really do all the things that she was doing unless you can actually sing.
It wasn't until after the fact that I was like, but she's released like 3 albums. Like, of course she can do this like different crazy inflection in her voice. It's it's in her wheelhouse. And then I thought Katya's was just like, it was hilarious. And the way that she structured it was genius. And then she had these perfect little jokes. And like her dictation was so much harder than anybody else's, that Lennon in the streets. See, that line is like
Lennon in the streets, Dostoevsky in the sheets. Like, it's hard to say.
It's hard to say, especially at the speed
Dostoevsky in the sheets.
that she was saying it so quickly too. So hers was the most challenging rap.
And she created it herself.
And that's my rap. Oh, and then Roxy's. I mean, I already said.
We already said it was.
The breathy part was just. It was tough. Thank God they turned on that wind machine, because I was distracted the first time, but then once again.
Yeah, what did you say? Like, it sounds like she recorded this in a wind tunnel.
She does, though. Yeah. Well, what can you do?
I know. What can you do? But like, even her. I was kind of confused by the final runway looks too.
I was going to say, you want to dive into final runway looks?
Because Alaska's, it's like, are you still doing Mae West? Like, you've been doing Mae West for like 3 weeks now.
We also both agreed that she looked like Lady Gaga during her Tony Bennett phase.
Her duet with Tony Bennett album phase. That was totally the look. And I'm like, it wasn't a bad look. It was beautiful. But it was like...
It's fine, but like I told you earlier...
It was so boring.
Any stylist could put together this old Hollywood glam look in their sleep. I could put it together in my fucking sleep. Like, anybody that appreciates vintage fashion knows what this looks like. And it was quite basic.
It was like, I mean, like I said, beautiful gold spangly dress, but basic. And it was like, this isn't show your creativity. Just like Gwyneth Paltrow,
beautifully basic.
That's generous.
But I don't know, I'm thinking about tall, white, blonde women.
Yeah, I got you, because Alaska is really fucking tall. You meet her in person, you're like, oh shit. Like, sometimes when you see her standing next to other queens, you're like, oh wow, you're enormous. In other ways, too, apparently, from what I've been told.
That's what Google's for.
Mm-hmm. But, no, let's just move on from there.
Okay. And then it was Detox. Look, I mean, I think that only Detox could pull that off, because I thought that dress was hideous. It was like it was ballerina prom.
What was she doing? It was another thing where like they're trying like, oh, I want to show the judges a different side, and I'm like,
why now?
But this is not the moment for this. This is the moment where you show them who you are, not like, oh, I've got this like other dress that like isn't like the other things I wore.
That was another thing about the judges' critiques. So, like, this is beautiful, this dress is beautiful. It's like, it's a taffeta fucking nightmare.
Like,
what are
you guys are
about?
lying, because she's in the All-Stars, and she's been so good on the runway with every single other look.
I mean, her makeup looked fantastic. I loved her hair. But the dress, I could not. It was so ugly. And that peach color.
After
it just
all
totally
of those
washed
amazing outfits all season.
Right? Fine. I guess if there was a time to have a misstep, it'd be now. But that peach color washed her out. She looked like a ghost.
Yeah, it was. I'm a ghost. A little AHS reference.
Yeah, Katya. I liked her bustle.
I thought it was so. Again, it was like a weird, out of left field choice that was still completely Katya, and then the story behind, it made like her crazy imagination create this crazy story for her inspiration for this look, and it was a hilarious story. That's where the the line about a woman who's going to be set
ablaze by her jealous relatives.
Like, and killed it again. I'm like, funniest person on the runway again.
Really?
Once again. And so, and then, like, we already talked about Roxy's. No, we didn't talk about Roxy's look, which sort of, like, copied some of those, like, finger wave, like, old Hollywood looks like Fifi and Coco did.
Thank you. Because I said it before and I'll say it again, that I don't like that Josephine Baker, like, finger waved wig. I don't like it. It's ugly. The dress is pretty. She looked very pretty. I thought
it didn't seem very her, though, either. It seems sort of, like, not like Roxy. And I'm like, why do they all bring these outfits for their final runway look that do not communicate their character or who they are as a performer, like, at all, really? Like, you can kind of justify Detoxes only in the sense that Detox usually does something really off the wall, but still really cool. But I'm like, where's the Terry Mugler?
I was about to say that.
Dress,
it was absent.
If Mugler was your biggest inspiration. Had a sick day on the finale day.
Bad day to have a sick day.
Bad day to have a sick day.
Lots of meetings.
I was like, oh, Lord.
All canceled.
All canceled. Sorry. Yeah, no, I'm there with you. But yeah, I wasn't really digging Roxy's take on the old Hollywood sort of, it was sort of, I appreciate that it was sort of like an updated and like different variation on it. Like instead of like a finger wave actual wig thing, it was like some weird
diamond curtain.
Yeah, like what was
curtain?
that thing in her hair?
I don't know.
It was,
but I feel like I've seen Rihanna wear it, so maybe it's fashionable. I don't know.
I guess I wasn't really digging.
I'm still wearing t-shirts from high school, so don't ask me.
And so she obviously is like, they're like, okay, well, you're not going to make it, Roxy.
Well, I feel like it was reflected in her speech. I felt like her speech was more of like a concession, like a very graceful concession.
It was a pageant. It was pageant babble. Gloria Allred told you in season 5 to not do the pageant babble if you want to win. And I think she had that mentality, like, I'm not going to win.
I think so.
And so it just manifested itself.
But I still maintain that I think that she did her Roxy best.
Oh, she did her best. But it's like, still, when that thought is in your head...
Totally.
You could tell that
but I think
she didn't believe she was going to win.
I think that she knew that she wasn't going to win like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, because she was in the bottom like every single week.
Right.
And her friends just kept not eliminating her
and
because
she
they couldn't
figured that it was a
friend.
pity vote. Yeah,
but
I mean,
it's so funny
because
it was like after all the shit that they give Alyssa, all the rest of the queens gave Alyssa for going with the I'm judging based on the whole competition who I think should be here.
It got
and
real
then by the end they're like
real fast.
They're all like, oh well, you went against our plan. That wasn't what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to eliminate whoever got the worst.
It was a fucking blood oath. Like,
I'm like,
give
for
it
God's
a rest.
sake, people like, and plus,
again. If Detox wanted to do herself a fucking favor and she wanted to be strategic, and wanted to apply their rule, she would have gotten rid of Alaska.
But she had. I mean,
I feel zero remorse.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you got rid of Alyssa, who would have also been, probably would have beaten you in the finale. I think so, at least, because I felt like if Alyssa had gotten to the final 4, it would have been Alyssa.
That one.
I think it was really possible. I think it was like, I think it would have been really too hard to ignore. I think she would have been so much, because they were kind of championing her just for being herself the entire time.
That's true.
So it was like, and RuPaul looked genuinely shocked when Detox sent her home. Mm-hmm. So I think everybody kind of felt the same way, which was that, like, it should have been Roxy. If we're going cumulatively, if we're going based on who was worse that week, then it would have been Alaska. So, of course, once it turned around and Alaska was the worst of the week, of course she didn't want anyone to adhere to their agreed upon plan and all that bullshit. And I'm like, of course, like, Tatiana called at the beginning. She's like, oh my God, this is totally not going to last. This is like such bullshit. Y'all are going to go in on each other as soon as, the going gets tough. You're going to, like, huddle. And that's totally what's going to happen. That's totally what happened. They kept themselves in the game throughout the season because at least one of them was always the winner.
Right. And I mean...
with the exception of Roxy, obviously, because that's how Roxy survived.
I also wonder what that top 4 would have looked like with Tatiana and Alyssa in it.
And who would you have taken out? Obviously Roxy. But who would the other one gone be?
Probably Alaska.
Because it's like, I felt like they were like, oh, Alaska, like, like Katya was like, oh, I couldn't have eliminated you because you've been slaying the competition. But I really genuinely feel that, like, when they were averaging it out, like, oh, I've been in the bottom twice, and, like, when Katya was saying that, but it was like, I don't know if Katya should have been in the bottom one of those times, first of all.
Right.
It was like, by default, pretty much that she ended up in the bottom one week, and it was really weird. I'm like, she clearly was not in the bottom 3 this week, like, at all. So I don't know why she's there. And I felt like Alaska was, like we said before, was a little overpraised some weeks and shouldn't have won, but did. And I felt like that kind of queers the, the idea of how you're looking at it cumulatively. Like, Alaska's in the competition every single week.
I mean, I just feel like it stopped being a cumulative or a week by week thing the second that they kept Roxy when she shouldn't have gone home. Yeah. So, I mean, it was bound to happen. It wasn't so much it was an overt thing, but I feel like it wasn't a point of contention. I think it was just something everybody accepted and just decided to do their best and see what happened. But we saw what happened.
And we called it right from the beginning.
It was a surprisingly somber lip sync note to go out on, though.
Like, If I Was Your Woman.
I mean, I know that they do some more serious songs from time to time, but I was just surprised.
That was the thing. It's almost like they were trying to show us, like, the two people who probably I would have preferred to have been the top 2 of this season, compared with the person who won, because it's like, again, it was a contrast. It was a contrast of something emotionally and genuinely felt, compared with someone else who's playing a bit. Like, it's similar with the character issue, with the people dealing with, like, the anniversary of parents' death and dealing with that kind of loss and grief, and they get through it with grace and style. And then Alaska is in the bottom 2, and she loses her shit and turns into this, like, beast that everyone's, like, shocked was lurking in there. Beast! Complete.
Well, and then to contrast Alaska's shitty attitude with even just Roxy being, like, super gracious the entire time. Like, she knew she should have gone home. She accepted it. She still tried her best. And then when they eliminated her before the lip sync for Your Legacy, she's like, thank you. I thought that even, like, her pageanty speech was nice in her own way.
Loser speech.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she had to say something, and I think that she expressed herself well, and I think that she did do what she set out to accomplish.
Which apparently was not win.
No, it was to redeem herself, and I feel like she made that abundantly clear. I think that after she won the first time, she thought, oh, maybe I could win, and then she was just in the bottom a lot. She's like, I'm not going to win.
Yeah, but we only needed, like, 2 episodes for that redemption to
Exactly,
happen.
But, I mean, her friends wouldn't let her leave. I feel like she was okay with leaving a bunch of times, to be totally honest.
It was just like, hypocrite
and not that she's a quitter or anything like that, but I think that she recognized, like, I think she's even said in her testimonials, like, I'm competing with, like, really great queens. I mean, this is a different interview, come to think of it. But anyway, she knew that she was outpaced by all these different queens, and she was honored to be included among them, but I think that she knew that, like, okay, well, I should be going, eliminate me. But for whatever, I feel like she even told either Detox or Alaska at one point, like, you can send me home, it's fine.
Yeah, she did say that.
Well, yeah, it was when Alaska won when she shouldn't have, and during the lip sync between her and Katya, the second time.
The second one.
And Roxy was like, please just send me home. And she's like, I can't do it. I'm like, she told you it was fine.
And you're keeping her only because she lent you a shirt?
Yeah, so then at that point, it becomes strategic for Alaska to keep her around.
Because then it's like, oh, this competition is going to be easier for me to get to the Final Four without this person showing me up. Or
because you also made
a
really great point last time about, oh, Detox, are you going to fucking cry when Roxy inevitably gets eliminated by Ru? No, you're going to be happy that you stayed. So quit your bitching about, I can't send my best friend home. Yes, you can.
It's like, maybe the good friends are the ones who tell you, like, sorry, this is how it goes. You were not the best, so I...
And also, if they're your good friend, you should be able to send them home and know that you guys will still be able to be friends. Sure, they might be a little butthurt at first, but maybe later they can get over it.
Wasn't the whole point of you guys having the power to eliminate people was supposed to be based on who should go home? And if you don't want to do that, then maybe you shouldn't criticize other people who went by who they genuinely felt should have stayed and who should have gone home, and made a big show about it and sort of like talk down to that person, and then now you've like completely flipped, and in a way that's really doesn't have much integrity. I felt it was. I appreciate that, like, they were all friends, and we all knew that, like, even though they were trying to claim that, as what's her name, as Alaska said, we're not actively practicing Relaxa Talks.
Well, if she was so concerned about this Relaska Talks alliance, why wouldn't she just send her fucking home and just be done with it? Then you won't have to be associated with it.
Yeah,
Then
right?
it'll be Alaska Talks, and then that's not really even a thing, is it now?
Well, Alaska Talks was always made up just between them. So.
I know, but if you cut off a head, then, like, it starts to wither away and die. So if you were so concerned about how that looked, then you should have sent her home when you had the chance.
But it wasn't really that big a concern.
Chances.
It was...
Excuse me.
Yeah, chances.
Choices.
More than one.
Choices.
Tatiana would have sent her home. Katya
So,
would have
yeah,
sent her
even
home.
though, I mean, although it was a lackluster... it was a little bit of, like, a womp womp. We knew that she was going to win
the actual
moment.
crowning, but, like, the actual
It
episode
doesn't mean
was...
that it was a fantastic...
amazing.
Yeah. But it also doesn't mean that Alaska doesn't deserve it. We just... I mean, she won the crown, but Katya has our hearts. I think that's safe to say, yes?
But it's not going to turn into a Coco Alyssa kind of thing. Is Alaska not going to fulfill her ranks? Who has to take the mantle now? Because it's like, God.
I really do wish they do second and third runner-up.
Because the thing that bugs me is, like, you know, obviously I always hate it when I'm force-fed who should be the winner, and then we're supposed to believe that they didn't play a part in it. It was like, oh, this person just was the best. And it's like, no, well, you put a lot of effort into
we watched
making
the
them
same
look
show,
the best.
yes?
You know,
We
so
know
like
what
I know
happened.
what happened. What happened was, like, you know, it was Alaska was gonna win. She had like I said, we said it from the beginning that she had it was obvious that she was the person who most likely would look right as the winner of this group of people. Like, you could instantly justify it very easily.
But at least I feel like...
And so when it's force-fed to me, it makes me reject it. It makes me rebel against it. So...
And I think we're on the same page about that. But versus season 1 of All Stars, that felt more like just a show to give Chad Michaels a win. That's not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying.
That's what it felt like.
It felt like, because they didn't bury it enough, like they did with season 2, where I think they did a better job. And I also think that the Queens, like, the level, it was just, we were not worthy of that level of excellence. It was just delivering every minute of every episode was solid gold. You didn't
really
want to
was.
miss a second. But, yeah, I think that they buried the lead a little bit better than they did with the first time, so I guess they learned from that mistake.
So I don't know. I guess to their mind it didn't come off as obvious, but to me it came off as obvious.
Yeah, and so it's just hard to accept it.
Other people that I talked with about the show, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's totally gonna."
When
be
it really
Alaska.
feels it should have been like maybe it should have been Katya or Detox.
Yeah, because I felt like because they had picked her as a winner, they had to create scenario. I don't know if you can say scenarios, but they had to give the vibe that this person is on top all the time, even when they're maybe like equal to other people. And it was like, okay, that kind of thing just kind of irks me a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's like, but that's how like every reality show is.
But I guess to another extent, you could say that Alaska played the game, and that's why she won.
Alaska was always good at playing the
Alaska?
game. Alaska. That would be a great like drag daughter. Alaska and Alyssa's daughter.
Yeah, Alaska.
I mean, granted,
Alaska Thunder Edwards.
Thundwords.
Thunwords. Ooh, I like that.
I mean, she already has a little pound cake, Alaska does. So.
Right, yeah, no, I know. But this is like a creation between her and Alyssa.
That would be a great creation.
So, like, just super loud and just very dry.
Needs to do more drugs.
But Alaska, yes, her winning. I forgot what we were talking about.
Yeah, it was that. That was the thing.
Bad podcasters.
I was nonplussed, if you will, by the obviousness of the win.
Right.
And that I felt it was actually closer and should have been up for more of a discussion than it felt like it was.
Right, that whole she won by a 2% margin thing is kind of...
Or that, like, only 2% of her is bad. 98% is good. I'm like... be realistic.
I don't know. But it's always hard to tell if, like, the tantrums are a byproduct of production or...
I feel like genuinely...
a heightened environment.
Like, well, Alaska's reasoning for them also was really weird. And how, like, oh, well, you know, when I was in my season, I was never in the bottom 2, so I never felt like my heart racing like that, blah, 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 blah. Not working. I'm not buying. I'm not buying that. Nonetheless, I cannot wait for the reunion episode. Even though Fifi won't be there to stir up the shit cauldron.
Oh, Lord have mercy. But I still look forward to hearing, because I'm sure, I mean, over the course of a year, they have a lot to address.
Oh my god. I can't wait to see it. There's going to be
not
some
this
drama
Thursday,
there.
it's next
Because
Thursday, the
Alyssa's obviously
27th,
going to be
yes?
there. The 27th, yeah.
All right.
I mean, because Alyssa got eliminated twice when she shouldn't have been.
But so did Tatiana, and she's there too. And so is Ginger.
Yeah, but I
But Ginger didn't actually make it in, so it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah,
But everybody but Fifi will be there, and I look forward to hearing this. And I also am really looking forward to a proper reunion.
I know that they
and not just a soundbite from every eliminated queen about what they're up to right now.
Yeah, on a stage. I mean, I love that theater and all, but like they just never figured out a format
but only
that felt
if it
genuine.
was just the performance. Like that would be fine by me. But I mean, this entire All-Star season was incredible. That finale episode was impeccable. I don't have any more able words I can think of right now.
No more able words from you.
But I'm sad to see it end only because it was
the
so
highest
good.
quality Drag Race we've seen for a long time. And at least the winner, for all of the, my pissiness about it, at least the winner was somebody whose talent is verifiable and not just something that they had to create, I think, out of generous editing from the drag queen. I think that at the very least, it's not necessarily a result that you'll be upset about in the sense
That's
of like
the thing.
someone who didn't deserve to win one. It's like, no, somebody who was really good
Not
won.
like an uproarious negative backlash.
Not at all.
I think it's great that she won, and she really did deserve it. And like I said, any of the three
Based
of them,
on what they created of this show,
Katya, Detox, or Alaska, well, obviously she won, but any of the three of them could have won, and you've been like, fuck yeah, of course.
Those were three worthy choices.
They really were the strongest
top three. It's so
top
odd
three.
to have something in this country where all the choices are ones that you want.
This is not a political podcast.
No, it's not, but...
shade unto the...
LaWanda, you were late.
Well, it was hard to find...
That outfit, girl.
It was hard to find the button.
I was criticizing LaWanda.
But yeah, I think it was a strong top three. Sure, there could have been some alternates, but that's just telling of the talent pool that we had.
It's very true. And I think they'll probably try to do All-Stars again. And there's genuinely a lot of other funny queens who haven't been on All-Stars yet. Trixie. There's one. And Jiggly Caliente still has not been on. I don't know why.
Can she just resurface in general?
She's still around. She still performs. Still does her thing. But it's like, why is she not on All-Stars? She was fucking hilarious and everybody loved her. So it's very strange that we haven't seen her yet.
I mean, I feel like
I can't
based
imagine
on the
another
success,
season being another All-Star season being as good as this one.
But based on the success, like critical and from a number standpoint, I have a feeling they'll do a third one.
I think you're right. I think it's going to be probably at least another two. If they decide to go on, and they'll last. Right. But it's if they want to keep doing it for another 2 or 3 seasons. It'll last as long as
RuPaul still wants to do it.
Yeah, I heard that. I still remember hearing rumors about the UK version of Drag Race.
We've been hearing rumors about that for years.
But, like, no more information. Well, we'll look it up for next week's reunion. If we have any news, we can do a little news corner then. Like, speaking of politics, Lucian Piani's.
Oh my! Well, that explains why he wasn't here this season.
That's what I was. Well, he was. No, he wasn't here at all, was he?
No.
I thought he was here once, but no, he wasn't. But he legitimately was. He did score a film that I think is coming out like next month. So he was legitimately working.
Well, I guess it worked
times.
out, but it worked out in 2 ways then.
But yeah, there was some things there. We can go over that then if we want. But nonetheless, I think it'll be, like you said, it's really nice to see that there's going to be an actual reunion show. They've already done the crowning. It's going to be the old school Drag Race where like everyone comes back. You talk with them in a room and you confront them with difficult truths about their performance on the show, perhaps.
Or show them tweets about things that they said about you.
Exactly. Oh,
and then ask them directly to explain.
Yeah, it'll be good. I think it'll be good. They give the essence of high drama. So I'm willing to fork over my hour on the couch to this show one last time until the next regular season 9, whenever that is. They haven't announced anything yet. But it gives me hope. And hope is a wonderful thing.
Especially in these troubling times.
Yes. Why is anyone running on that platform again?
Well, we will be back next week with our reunion special. And we will be back in December whenever America's Next Top Model comes back on VH1.
And we may finally get around to reviving our I Scream, You Scream. So it's Halloween time, for God's sake. We got to at least do a special edition.
Special edition one-off. Because
something.
Halloween's almost here.
It is almost here. But then we can keep it going because Scream Queens isn't over yet and all that shit. So there'll be some more in the pipeline coming.
You know how you can keep track of what we might be doing next because we don't sound so sure right now?
Gambit Magazine. Gambit Magazine website. Gambit Magazine.
GambitMagazine.com. Actually, Gambit Mag. You can also follow the official Twitter at Gambit Digital. You can also subscribe to our podcast. It's more of like a general umbrella thing. So if you just subscribe to the Gambit Digital Network podcast page, then you will get updated automatically with other podcasts that we do.
Mostly us.
It is mostly us. And then you can also, the same thing applies to the Gambit Digital YouTube page. You can subscribe to that at Gambit Digital.
And of course on iTunes.
Right.
Free.
All of that, free.
Nothing.
So much
nothing
free content.
Except your time.
Yeah. And did you notice?
A
No
little bit.
ads.
Oh my God, yeah, right? I am not selling you any Blue Apron meals.
Or Sunbasket.
Even though I do like Blue Apron a lot. I use it all the time. But nonetheless, we're not getting...
No stamps, no Harry's razors. We aren't opposed...
Harry's razors.
We aren't opposed to those things. I'm just saying that we don't have them.
mattresses.
Yeah, which... Oh, man.
If I get a mattress, I will.
We will talk about it forever.
But since we're small fry enough to not have those kind of sponsors yet, because we haven't whored ourselves out hard enough.
Who has the time, really?
I know.
But you can follow us on Twitter, whoring ourselves out with jokes. I'm at Margs, she wrote, and Samir is at Samiraculous.
That's Samir and Miraculous. It's like in one word.
And it's
Samiraculous. It's really good. But yeah, I'm there. And of course, and when we go to cool things, we'll post pictures on our Instagrams. Samiracles, that's my name on Instagram. Don't follow me on Facebook.
And until next week, we bid you a good
bye.